Her words. Her words held my family as if we were already shattered pieces. Her mouth was a resting place of a feather blade, and it shattered what was left of us. The nurse told us that sometimes a person requires permission before they can allow themselves to lean into the cold arms of forever waiting for them. She told us it's common for them to reserve their last breath until their loved ones have left the room. She encouraged us to tell you that it was okay for you to leave. So now my morning routine, once consisting of coffee and music, now includes me telling you that it's okay for you to abandon us here. I know that my lips were cinder blocks on your fragile brow. I'm sorry if that was too much weight for you. I told you it was okay for you to go. I told you that I love you, because I don't think that real love should come in past tense. I told you that you did well. I don't know if my words were even the truth, because I remember them depositing your body in a black bag and a thundering zipper, as if the whole house couldn't hear them sealing you away. They placed you on a ghosted gurney that still haunts me. They rolled my protector over the threshold of our home as if he was some decaying, abandoned building that needed to be removed. Didn't they know that there were still prayers waiting for you to see the manifestation of them? You prayed that I would have a solid relationship with God. Daddy, let's be honest. For years, you were the bridge my faith could walk to get closer to our King. And now it's just me and him, and it gets real awkward sometimes. But you didn't raise me to have a backup plan, so me and God are just gonna have to figure it out. You prayed that I would have a career doing what I love. Do the angels tell you that your baby girl's poetry puts a little bit of money in her pocket? It's not much, that it's progress. You prayed that I would marry a man who loved God, that I would marry a man who knew how to get a prayer through. And Daddy, I want to tell you I'm sorry for all of the men who I allowed treat you as if your time was unlimited. I wish there was a return policy on wasted minutes, because I'd much rather have spent them with you. And we all know that your hands are the only ones worthy enough to give me away. And Daddy, I just don't think they make them like you anymore. When I packed up Chicago and moved back home to take care of you, I said, Dad, I got enough money for rent or a new puppy. You said, go ahead and get your dog. I'll give you the money for rent. Who gonna spoil me like that now, Daddy? Because death unfolded his arms on a Monday. I don't know how long he stood in the corner of your room waiting for you. I don't know how long my mother's prayers and petitions kept him at bay, but I've never seen a man seesaw between two realms. It's devastatingly beautiful for weeks. I watched your eyes peer past the present, your body barely functioning, holding on to a soul that was immortal, and eternity was calling for you. I watched your church crushed beneath the falling weight of a fallen idol. They made an idol of you, Daddy. I know you told them not to, but isn't that just like a congregation? To do the very thing you tell them not to do? I watched you preach Christ until your body no longer had a voice to give you. The last conversation we had was you asking me if Jesus was to return, would I be ready? And I told you yes. And I watched peace fill your eyes. Your funeral was beautiful. The flowers were mocking the way they resembled life, but there was nothing there but death and a haunting scent. I smelled regret in the air. I even felt fear, and maybe it was my own, because for 2 years, strength has had her arms around me, and I finally feel it lifting. Grief is an unbearable weight to bear. You were a far lighter load to carry. I can still feel the weight of you against my body. hoping that you couldn't hear the trembling in my hands, begging God for more time. Still shocked that I could lift you out of the bed because you couldn't do it on your own. And I couldn't help but remember all of the times you lifted me out of my own bed because I couldn't do it on my own. I was glad to return the favor. Your wife, she delivered a flawless eulogy, but you're not surprised. You knew you married both the hurricane and the bunker. My mother is amazing. The girl at Akira helped me pick out the dress I wore to bury you. I think you would have liked it, Daddy. It was modest. I even covered my knees. I don't think you would have sent me back to my room to change, nor giving me the side eye me and my sister often receive for our weird fashion choices. I think you would have called it sharp. It was black. You were always so proud that God chose to make you black. Don't you remember, Daddy, when the puppets came for the children's church and you couldn't understand how to teach a brown savior to black and brown kids with pale puppets, so you colored them in with markers and they looked horrible? But isn't that just the heart of the pastor, doing all that he can so the message is received? But I can't get the last breath out of my head. Your chest was hollow, like a speaker, giving off a sinister rattling, a warning that this would be the end, and I am afraid that you will fade too far into the past tense and I won't be able to depict you properly to your grandchildren. I normally give God a polite praise. I know all of the right words to say, but when Sunday came, I gave God a frightening, trembling worship because people have turned their back on him for less. Daddy, I will do my best to honor your legacy. Because even when I get my oil changed, the man still asks about you. He says your father was so kind. I don't know if you know how big your legacy is. Do the angels tell you that your son is a father now? I think he'll be just like you. Do they tell you that your children keep an eye on mama's smile, making sure that it's genuine? Because I watched my mother bury the love of her life of 30 plus years, and I've never seen her faith waver. When we asked her, why would God allow something like this to happen to a man so devout and so loving? She didn't even blink. She said, I don't know, baby, but we are the servants of God, and whatever he allows, we accept. She said that heaven had need of you. She taught me how to accept awkward comfort from a bunch of saints who never learned how to grieve and how to do it with grace. Because grief always comes at the worst time. And I'm obligated to give it all of my attention, so I'll sit in these ashes until the Lord will make something beautiful of my mess. Because no good thing would he withhold from me, including this grief. But I hope that he will forgive me, because your baby girl still has need of you.